what I was thinking was, what if we just like breeze through instead of discussing each one individually? What if we just like scrolled through really quickly the rest of the slides all the way to the end?
The non-traditional? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Instead of just like putting it off.
Yeah.
So that way we can.
We've been going pretty quickly, so let's do that.
So
all right,
abstract objects.
Lowe's argument: some abstract objects exist necessarily, but all abstract objects depend on concrete objects, so there must be a necessarily existent concrete object. We have FESER'S Augustinian proof, which is similar to Greg Welty's conceptualist argument, which just arrives at theism by eliminating from abstract objects by eliminating other theories about abstract objects. We have LOWE on objects from reason. Abstract objects seem to be things that we reason about. They seem to be objects of reason. But if that's true, then the only way that could be objects of reason if they're the object of reason of a non-physical, necessarily existent infinite intellect. Okay, arguments from propositions. Let me just read this one. Propositions are distinctively thought-like. If propositions are distinctively thought-like, then they must be the thoughts of a necessary infinite mind. And there are a lot of papers here defending that main proposition. Propositions are distinctively thought-like. So we have Quentin Smith, who recently just passed away. He defended this proposition. He thought that propositions are effects of mental causes, propositional attitudes.
Talking about
Greg
the
Welty,
second one that you've got, I'm having James Anderson on. I think you know that. I'm having James Anderson on to talk about this paper, the Lord of Non-Contradiction. Really excited about that.
Yeah, so I won't say anything about that one. Richard Bryan Davis, he argues that the constituents of propositions are best understood as ideas. So the idea of, so if we have the proposition quine is wise, in order for that to be true, it has constituents. It has the constituents quine, the idea of quine, and the idea of wisdom. Now, in order for those to be arranged in such a way for that proposition to be true, you need a mind to arrange them. So propositions, but there are propositions that have constituents that can only be arranged, propositions that no human mind has ever thought of. So they need an omniscient mind to arrange the constituents of those propositions. And then we have Keller.
Sorry, we might be going too slow again. We might need to speed it up a little bit. I've got these on on the screen though for people to pause and go through. That argument is actually, to me, is becoming more and more interesting as I'm getting older. So I definitely want to look more into this.
Well, I have a friend who studied with Smith while he was at Western Michigan. And he said that in class one day, Smith said that considerations about propositions and abstract objects made Smith 51% theist. Whatever that means.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, sets.
Right, from sets.
I won't read the formulation there. I'll just read the inductive version, the probabilistic formulation. This is Christopher Menzel's argument from sets. The probability that set theoretic realism is true, in contrast to what he calls activism, that sets are the product of intellective activity. That given the nature and existence of these sets, confirms activism over set theoretic realism. So activism entails, or is best, theism is the best explanation of activism, so sets confirm theism.
All right, we're actually past the point for push-ups, so I'm gonna pause and let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do it. You've got your apple juice.
Yeah, I'm gonna take another drink of my apple juice here.
Okay, I think 10 or 11.
I lost count.
Okay, I'm starting to really feel it.
Well, initially you wanted to do a push-up after every single argument.
Yeah, that would have.
Okay, facts. Well, here are just a handful of arguments from unities. So we have facts. Facts exist and are unities of constituents. Problem is, the constituents of facts need to be unified, and they can only be unified by something external to the fact itself. But there are facts in every possible world, so there must be an external fact unifier in every possible world. That's from our good old philosopher king living out in the wilderness, William Vallicella. Contingent objects are unities of sorts. They are composite and temporal. There's nothing intrinsic to contingent objects that explains what holds them together through time. So we need an explanation of what does that. That's not a contingent object. That's not temporal. That's not going to be composite. And it has to sustain them. So we have an argument for God. Wholes, we have, well, here's this kind of an odd argument. You can look at that. There are some wholes that are made, all wholes are made by an intelligent agent. Everything composite is made by an intelligent agent. It's the main premise there. Justified by induction, things like that. Okay, some wholes cannot possibly be made by an embodied agent, so there must be an unembodied agent that made it. And some wholes are such that they could only be made by a godlike unembodied agent, so there must be an unembodied godlike agent.
Sorry, I'm kind of skipping around with the slides ahead of you, so sorry to the people watching that are kind of getting confused at what's going on. I did want to just say one more time that we're gonna breeze through these arguments a little bit quicker than we did in the first half of the show. So if you're having trouble keeping up, just pause it, or you can go into the link in the description of this video and pull up the slides themselves, so you can look through them as slowly as you like or need. And also, I'm gonna have Chad's notes that he's got prepared for everything today. So that's the way that if it's going a little bit too fast or you're having trouble keeping up, that's the way that you can keep up a little bit better. That's one of the ways.
All right, we have arguments from unity using the cosmos as an example. You see how that argument goes there. We'll just go ahead and skip that.
Yeah, I feel bad because limits. Paulo is like, he's a friend of both of ours, and he was super excited to have his argument here.
I know, and I interacted with
Paulo. You're awesome. Everyone should go look into this argument. Let's do that. There you go. Everyone should be excited about his argument.
We have Rasmussen's argument from limits, which is interesting. Whatever's limited has an explanation. If whatever's limited has an explanation, possibly something is unlimited, so something is unlimited, possibly. If something's unlimited, then it's perfect. If something is perfect, it's necessary. So it follows that if something is unlimited, it's necessary. And then we have the crucial step from S5 that gives us our conclusion. There is something that's perfect and necessary.
That's a version of the argument that I used in my debate with Stephen Woodford on the Kalam.
Oh, cool. Applicability of mathematics. Let's just run through this one. The applicability of mathematics to the physical world requires explanation. The best explanation is God. So applicability of mathematics is evidence for God. Leftau's reductions. And this comes from his book, God and Necessity. And if you are masochistic and interested in philosophy, I recommend reading that book. And he painstakingly goes through all sorts of different abstract objects. I mean, numbers, properties, sets, universals, functions, and he reduces them down to God and his activities as the best explanation for the existence of these things. But the virtue is he gets them all to be reduced to God and his activities, but he does so while avoiding the main criticisms of anti-realism about abstract objects. And the main weakness there is just that, look, if we don't have abstract objects, we can't have objectivity about mathematics, and we can't have realism. He says, well, I can get you both if they're just reducible to a necessarily existent concrete being, God.
Am I on the wrong argument? I've got the global economy argument.
That's right. That's it. Okay.
I'm not seeing that. Maybe I'm just not following along.
I was doing it from memory.
Okay.
I have a review of that book, which makes understanding it, I think, a mercy to the reader. Okay. Okay.
All right. Let's continue moving on.
Argument from possibility. Modalities are grounded in powers. Well, if so, they could only be the powers of an omnipotent being. So there's an omnipotent being.